Greetings, everybody. I am here with Sister Gloria Renfroe, and I've known that for a couple of years now. We met when she was making some healthy food at one of the Chambers of Commerce meetings, and I've attempted to stay in touch with her, and she popped into my office. So we're doing this impromptu. But she has started a business of cooking plant-based foods. So I'm going to have Sister Gloria Renfroe tell you more about herself and what she does, because the more people we have eating healthy foods, the more changes we have for the better in ourselves, in the community, in the world. So here is Sister Gloria Renfroe.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is so good to be here with you today. And I'm so glad to be given this opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Gloria, and for 30 years I was a hairstylist in this community. I stopped doing hair, became an organic gardener, and was just home making great foods, eating a lot of good foods, and making good wine and drinking good wine. And I knew that I couldn't continue on with the duration of my life just doing those things alone. So I decided to go to culinary arts school. I did for 2 years. And once in culinary arts school, I knew that I had not been in school for 40 years and things were going to be tough for me. So I did not want to be the oldest and the most naive person sitting in the class. So I went home and I took my sunroom and started replicating what I was seeing in the culinary arts department that I was attending every day. And one day I looked up, and lo and behold, my kitchen at home looked like the kitchen from school. So I said, wow, this looks just like the classroom setting that I'm in every day. So I think I'll call the health department out and have them take a look and let them explain to me what it is that I've created just by experimentation. So in health, a health official came out. She looked the kitchen over and told me what I needed to tweak. I did that. She made a return visit and signed me off. And before I knew it, I had a certified kitchen in my home. Well, I still didn't know what I was going to do with this certified kitchen and this information I was gaining from school. And so one day, an acquaintance asked me if I would cater for her church after service dinner. And I said yes, and things took off for me. From that day on, I was then catering, and I was cooking great foods, healthy foods, and organic foods for the church. And
Well, let me ask you something. How did it go over with the church when you started cooking organic food and healthy food? Because we're in Alabama. So there's no doubt we're in a place where, for the most part, people are not trying to eat a whole lot of healthy food. So how did that go over?
it went over with a bang because, for one thing, food that has been grown organically and without chemicals is far more flavor impact. The food that was singing, and with my hand and cajoling the different flavor profiles out of it, it went over in a big way. So the church then asked me if I would prepare meals for their uh, worshipers who did not fall within the range of home food deliveries. So after that, I started packaging food for those people. And because these were people who most of them had discretionary funds, we were having a ball. We weren't just having your flat line foods. Every meal was catered to that particular person's whim. And
Wow.
whatever they say they wanted, I sought it out and I prepared it. I don't think I made a lot of money because I was having more fun just being able to play with all types of foods and they were picking up the tab for it.
All
So I
right.
was then preparing meals for them. So whatever they wanted, it could be anything from duck à l'orange to uh, lobster Newburg. If they said
Look
they
at you,
wanted,
sister. Look at
I
you.
sought it out. The food was good. A lot of them began, and then I also introduced them to alternative condiments and things that they could have in their own pantry. So I started stocking pantries at the
Like
church.
what? What kind of
Oh, I would.
condiments were they
Okay, I
eating?
introduced them first to eliminate salt. I introduced them to sumac, which is a Mediterranean herb that is low in salt. It comes from the sumac plant and it has a lemony taste. I introduced them to agave, which is a sugar substitute. It's made from the agave cactus. And brown foods, quinoa, black rice.
Hmm.
Uh,
Instead of that white rice, yeah.
Absolutely.
And the agave syrup is okay for most diabetics to use too,
It has a
correct?
lower glycemic
Index.
index, yeah. So it doesn't spike your glycemic level as fast as white and refined sugars will.
Mhm.
So as a result of that, they started seeing differences in their diet. So everybody that I was preparing the packaged meals for got on board because they saw weight loss. They were telling me that they had lower cholesterol levels when they were going to their doctors. Everybody started losing a little weight, so it was well received within the church members. And these were seniors, and these were people who they got excited because they now had a different way of looking at food, and it also made them feel better.
Excellent. So now you've started a cooking class, yes?
Yes, I have.
Okay, tell us about that.
Okay, so now I told you that we were eating all this great food. Uh, I mean, it was good. And the thing about it, all food, it can be too much. Even good food can be too much. So as a result of that, eating this great food and having it at my disposal all the time, and the leftovers and the remnants, and you know how it is, like when a parent eats behind a child so that they don't leave good food behind. I think I became that person. So the next thing I know, I had gained weight, and when I saw that I had gained weight, I knew I just was not going to continue on being a fat cook. I wanted to be a slim chef. So yeah, as 2020 rolled around, it seems like a light bulb just went off in my head and said, you have got to change. So you're eating good, but you need to go to the next level of cooking. And that's when I instituted a plan to start cooking next level food. This is what I call
All
this.
right.
And it doesn't look like the food of yesterday, and none of our food looks like what it did 40, 50 years ago. And I tell people, uh, as we progress and as we changes are made and more things are becoming available to us, next level cooking is also the next concept for food. So that what that looks like is more plant-based ingredients in our diet, more colors. And I started looking at the colors of food and wanting to introduce people to all the rainbow of colors of food that are out there, so that every day your plate should look like a rainbow. And the more deep greens and purples and vibrant reds and oranges that we're bringing into our diet, the more uh, fulfilled our nutritional levels are being met. So my plant-based cooking classes are not deemed to make people into vegetarians, but it's to give people an alternative to some of the meat that they have in their diets. And so what I plan to do is introduce them to take the plant and mimic as many plant items as I can to make it taste like meat so that you don't miss meat as much. So I'm working a lot with the lentil because the lentil is such a complete product. I'm doing a lot of sprouting, a lot of microgreens, um, just a lot of sea based plants, algae, wakame, kumba, nori. These are the items that nature has made in the ocean. These are the items that are just filled with chlorophyll. And we know that chlorophyll is the basis of our whole existence. So when we look at ourselves and what we put into our system, we know that we almost are like plants because we are filled with the energy from plants. And so that's why I'm calling it the plant based universe because almost everything that we look at and everything that is good comes from a plant.
Right. Exactly. And you said it's
This is called
better
better
choices, right?
choices. Better
Yes.
choices. I want to emphasize better choices. And I think that's the key thing to changing your habits is look at the fact that all we need to do is make a choice.
Right.
It could be a good choice or a bad choice. And when you look at it realistically, why make a bad choice when a good choice is right around, is at your hand, and you can reach out and choose that, and it works better for you.
And it's also better to make a better choice when you can make it taste good. And that's
Absolutely.
what you're doing too, because you're actually teaching people how to prepare these foods. We're not just telling you, turning you loose with your food and saying, go do it, go figure it out. You're actually teaching people how to prepare the food, how to enjoy the food, and you're teaching them what foods they can use. And I was interested when you were talking about the lentil before because you were talking about sprouting the lentil. Now, why do we want to sprout the lentil instead of just eating it the way it is?
Well, I look at it just like a mother producing a child and sending it out into the world. When you sprout and that little tail appears, that is a plant. It no longer is a dried bean. It becomes a plant that is nutritionally dense. So when that mother sprouts that stem and ejects it from that cell, that means that that sperm has everything it needs to go out into the world and be its best plant. So imagine if we're consuming that. That means it's going to give us the best of itself. So we're getting the best of the product.
Very good, very
Yes.
good. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us? Are you offering the classes at a specific time, and are they online? Can anybody attend? Who can attend the classes?
This is all so new, and I'm so excited about it that I want to make myself available. So I've said that I do have a standard kitchen, which is located in Lowndes County.
Okay.
However, in Alabama, that's correct. However, I would like to be available to any group of people. If 10 or more people can come together and there is a stove and water, I'm willing to come and teach people how to prepare these meals. And what I mean by how to prepare the meal is not just about putting it in the skillet and letting it get heated. What I'm interested in is techniques and scientific technique that bring out the maximum flavor. Because one thing about working with plant-based ingredients, you don't get the fat, you don't get the sugar, you don't get the salt, and all those things that are embedded in our heads to make us feel like we're being satisfied. What these foods do is what I like to do with these foods is bring out the maximum flavor in them through caramelization, through teaching people how now not to put too much water in a pan and allowing all the nutrients to escape in the water and float around in the water. So we're doing like low moisture cooking, steaming, grilling, baking, those things that bring about a chemical reaction and bring out the natural sugars in the foods, and adding things to that product that mimic fats. Whereas if you could take a ground up lentil and add something like barley to it, that mimics fat in your mouth. And those are the flavors that we're seeking and that we miss when we alternate and change from the traditional soul food. Food.
Okay, so tell us how people can reach you, because you never know, somebody in New York might want you to come and teach a class to them. So tell us how we can reach you, and do you have an email? Do you have a website? What would we do to get in touch with you?
Okay. Right now, I have a email address which is Gloria Gloria Renfroe Renfroe at yahoo.com. My phone number is 334 740 0923. That way, you're sure to reach me best. I like to confer with people personally to get a full understanding of where you are so I can meet you where you are.
That's good. Well, I want to thank Gloria Renfroe for joining me this afternoon. Her company is called Better Choices Plant Based Universe. Call her, set up a date, send for her, help her get this throughout the United States and perhaps around the world. So I'll be looking for you another time. In the meantime, I encourage you to be on purpose, in process, and at peace. Shem Hotep.